Hello, Stacey Hall here, where I am. This always is a wake-up call because it's quite early. I already got out for a mile walk with the pups and my hubby, and now I'm here. And we're going to talk about time. And I'm giving a shout out to Carla Archer because we were talking about time yesterday. And she talked about how my teaching her how to get in alignment made it possible for her to stop being quote unquote victimized by time. And I love that term. Love that term because I think it's true. For so many people, they feel a victim to time. Maybe you do too. Drop an X if you do. If you've ever taken a moment now and went, yeah, wait a second, I think I do feel like I'm at time's mercy. Time controls me rather than the other way around. Now I'm going to cancel that because I said it about me, but maybe that's how you feel. And it's not unusual because culture tells us we are constrained by time. But they say it in a way that makes it feel like we do not have control over our life. And I say we are constrained by time in a way that makes it possible for us to control our time. Say what, Stace? Yeah. Sometimes being constrained, being restricted, being limited requires us to make choices that we wouldn't be making otherwise. So, for example, some people will say, I wish there were more hours in the day. Really? Really? Do you still think that you think you'd get everything done if there were more hours in the day? No, you just keep recreating more stuff to do. But if we had even less time in the day, we would all be making choices about what's most important to get done. And we wouldn't care about the rest of it. And that's what I'm asking us to do today. What is the most important activities for you to get done? I know what the most important activities are to build an audience and grow an audience and make sales on social media or in business. And we all know that. Build, engage, sell. Know, like, trust. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking you to go back into you, into your life, into your desires, into all of your goals, and identify what has to come first right now. If you could only choose one thing to focus on, okay? All your needs were met, but you could only choose one thing to focus on. Where would you be putting your energy? Not in the future. I'm not asking you, if you had all the money in the world, what would you do with it? I'm not asking you that. I'm saying, look at your life right now. And what's the most important part of your life right now? Right now. Real. Your real life, not your imaginary one, the real life. What has to come first? If you couldn't do anything except one, what part would get your attention? Would it be your children? If you don't have children that need your attention, would it be your self-care? Would it be your spirituality? Would it be your work, whatever work is for you, whatever money-making activities are for you? What would be the first thing at the top of your list? And now the second question I'm going to ask is that the way you live your life? As if that is the first and most important thing to focus on. I started watching a series from Australia yesterday. Yes, I do. I stream TV. I watch very little actual TV, but this is streaming. And the woman character is, um, well, she's in the process of becoming a recovering top lawyer. Let's put it that way. And the beginning of the show is all about how all of her attention went into her job to the exclusion of her husband and the children. Now, I'm not making moral judgments here. I'm saying she made it clear to everyone around her what was her primary focus. That's what she chose. Doesn't matter whether you would choose it that way or not. That's what she chose. And she was all in. I'm asking you, are you all in to something? Because when you're all in, that will be the thing that everything else has to fit around. We've been taught a myth that we can have it all. I'm telling you, I don't know anybody who has it all. No matter how much money they have, they don't have it all. Not all the pieces of their life dialed up equally. It just isn't there. So it's not even a matter of money. It's not even a matter of time. It's how we view our life as all being equal. Our life is not equal. It isn't. It can't be. And on any given day, in any given moment, the priority might change, right? So what happened in the show is she found out on the same day she didn't get the promotion she was working so hard and staying so focused and sacrificed everything to get. Her husband was having an affair with her sister, and he got arrested and went to jail for embezzlement. Okay? Now, yes, it's a TV show. I'm using this as a metaphor. Her life changed in an instant. 1 minute, she was all in. The next minute, she was all out of that job and looking at what her next priority was going to be. But she knew what her second priority would be, and that was to be with the kids and start a new life, the second kind of life. So you might be a little confused at this point because I just said, what are you all into? And then I'm saying, so have a backup plan. Yeah, because life can change at any moment. So here's how we plan for a life that's difficult to plan for, and to be able to get done what's important to get done and not feel guilty at the end of the day about the other things that didn't get done. See, I get asked all the time, how am I getting so much done? I am past childbearing years. My stepsons live in another country, and we stay in touch with them all the time, but they live in another country. My husband is a realtor, so his schedule is kind of loosey-goosey. And we have 2 dogs that are 8 and 9. They're not puppies, that we don't need to train them anymore. My life kind of runs itself. Like that part, my home life runs itself. So this is the part of my life where I'm all in on building the business. It's time. It wasn't time previously. It's time now. I'm all in. So yeah, I'm on social media a lot. You see me doing a lot. You wonder how I get all the rest of my stuff done. I don't have a whole lot to have to get done in the rest of my life. Some friends, we have a good life. I get up at 6. I turn the computer off usually at 9. That's my day. And in between there, because I work from home, I'm making lunch, I'm going for walks, I'm whatever it is. But I'm all in on my business. Some of you cannot be all in on your business right now. You are raising young children, or you're taking care of ailing parents. And then at the end of the day, when you're not getting things done in every area of your life, you're feeling bad about yourself. Why? That just makes things worse. Why can't you celebrate what you got done? Celebrate what you did make to be your priority for the day. Okay? Best laid plans, as they say. So you say you're all in on business, and then somebody needs you. And then somebody you really want to help serve. Okay, then go be all in there. We can only be all in any given moment. So if we played like that, I plan to be all in here. Something comes along, a request. We have to look at it as, am I going to leave being all in over here to be all in here? Because we cannot straddle. The multitasking isn't going to work. Studies prove we cannot multitask effectively. It strains our brain. Make a note of that. Multitasking strains the brain. Do you want to put pressure on your brain? Do you want to use those nerve endings to fray? Is that how you want to live life? Probably not, but that is how most people are living. Trying to live up to the myth that everything can get done all at once. Like, who freaking created that concept? You can have it all. Yeah, you can have it all, but not all at the same time. We have stages to our lives. Knowing what stage you're in, knowing what the priority is for that stage, knowing what is first and foremost for you, and whether you're going to choose to sacrifice any part of it. Are you going to sacrifice any part of it to give attention to something else? Maybe you are. It's okay. For example, I'm all in said, I sacrifice an hour that I could be working on my business to walk 2 miles in the morning, and I sacrifice another 1 to 2 hours in the evening to walk 2 to 3 miles. It's my time with my husband, my dogs. We were both all active and talking and having fun. We meet up with friends in the park. Okay? So I choose a portion of what I'm all into. I sacrifice a portion of that to other things that I'd like to do if it's possible to do it. I'm doing it very consciously. Very consciously. Most folks run from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, and they don't stop to consider that they're sacrificing. They're just an automatic yes. So I'm going to share something with you that is the reason why a lot of people will give an automatic yes to other people without considering the ramifications and the penalties to their own goals by doing so. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about your priorities. So if you know you're all into taking care of an ailing parent, you're all in, and then you're going to sacrifice some of that time to other things. If you're all into taking care of your children and then you're going to sacrifice part of that time to your business when you can, great. That's not what I'm talking about. We already discussed that. I'm talking about the folks who go through life unconscious to what they're sacrificing. And a request comes from someone else and they automatically say yes. They resent it. Drop an X if you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever been there in the past or you know that people do this, drop an X. Because they'll say yes and then they'll resent it. They'll do it anyway because they're going to keep their word. Okay? They think that's being a good person. I'm going to keep my word. I said yes, I'm going to do it. But the resentment is there underneath. Okay? Well, that resentment robs them of any joy that they could have in the experience, something good that could come out of the experience. But what would have been better is for them to have considered, why did they automatically say yes? And I'm going to bet, I don't bet often, but I've got pretty good odds on this bet, that they are treating other people like their parents. I've talked about this before in the way we treat our prospects with money and other people making requests of our time is very similar to our parents telling us where to be, what to do, so we wanted to play and our parents said, no, it's time to come in for dinner. We wanted to play. No, we need to get ready to go. And think about it. We got conditioned that when our parents called us to do something, we darn well better do it, or there'd be a price to pay. If this is making sense, if you got a brain boom on this, maybe you didn't realize that's why you get triggered or other people get triggered, drop another X if you would. I'm curious. What's coming up for you as I say to you, people who respond automatically, they're responding to their parents even though their parents aren't around. And they can't say no because they feel guilty. Again, that's parents' influence. Okay? Parents saying, don't say no to me. Okay? Saying no is not good. Why do you have to be so negative all the time? That's parental influence. To feel guilty after we've held our boundary. Okay? Most of us are not living with our parents, and if we are, we're taking care of them at this point in their lives. We have to break free that saying no to someone else's needs, if it's not urgent, doesn't make us a bad person. It makes us focused. And I'm going to give you an exact example. Once I take a drink. I'd love to know if you're here and able to do more than an X, what might be coming up for you. I think I might have mentioned this last week or here or somewhere else. This actually did happen. I'm getting ready for a launch. Everybody who's in Digital Mentors knows that because I was on the Wednesday webinar last week, and Brian's having me back tomorrow to talk about the anatomy of the launch, which has taken about a year to really put everything into place. And now today, with my webinar, my actual webinar is launching today. And tomorrow on the Digital Mentors Wednesday webinar, we're going to talk about what happened when I launched. How did I get there? What happened during the launch? What happened after the launch? Counting on the fact that I'm going to have great results to share with you. Last Tuesday, somebody asked me to resubmit something I had submitted weeks before that I had confirmed 2 weeks before that they had received it, that there was nothing more for me to do. And at that time I communicated, great, because I'm not going to be available from this date to this date to do anything else. I'm focused on my launch. Okay? You heard that. I set boundaries. Okay? Just because I set boundaries doesn't mean other people are going to respect them. And in this particular case, the person came back to me and said, I can't find what you sent me. Could you send it again? And it was right in the middle of me putting together a lot of material for the affiliates that required it in order to be able to get the word out for my launch. Okay, submitted the information weeks ago. 2 weeks prior, had confirmed they had it, didn't need to do anything else. And then they also said, get this one, yeah, my email's really chaotic. If you could go and find it and get it back to me, that would be great. Really? I'm just going to stop because you can't manage your email. It's in there. All you have to do is do a search for my name. It'll come up, right? I didn't go into all of that. I just said, as I said, I am now in the middle of my launch and I'm focused on it. If you can't find it and I'm not able to participate, you can't wait till my launch is over, I completely understand. I made a choice. Either take attention away from my priority to help this person out who was too lazy to look in their email for what they told me they had. Okay? Now, how many of you would have dropped what you were doing and gone do it? Because if you had, that's your parents. You're treating other people like they have authority over you. Her time constraint, she should have thought about that before. Not a priority for me in the minute. It was 2 weeks prior. Is this making sense? I hope it's making sense. I hope it is. Let me know if it is or it isn't. Okay? And I'm getting a notification out of the way. Somebody just registered for the webinar. Okay. So here we go. Why would we ever, as adults, stop what we were doing that's important to us to take care of something that was important to someone else that really isn't important? Only because we're afraid of getting punished. And we don't want to say no and feel guilty. That's it. And that's how boundaries fall and crumble. Because we give in to other people's violins, right? Playing the poor me. You're the only person who can help me. Really? You've got a virtual assistant. Why don't you have your virtual assistant look for it? Okay? Irritated? Of course. Because I'm saying this is the perfect example. This person gets away with it because other people will drop what they were doing and give in to it. I won't. I will stay focused on what I communicated I will stay focused on because it's my priority, and that was not something I was willing to sacrifice my priority to do. All right, let's see what you all are talking about. I'm going to say hello to those of you who are here. And if you don't agree with me, you don't agree with me. I get it. It's fine. It's just my approach. Okay, I was just about to say all you have to do is search. Sheesh. Exactly, Ashley. Like, really, it took more time for her to send me. Oh, I didn't finish the whole point. It took more time for her to send me that request than it did for her to look through her emails, which she knows how to do. I know she knows how to do it. And just put in the word Stacey and see what comes up, right? I want you to know this was the other part of it. She tried to make me feel guilty. So when I said, if I can't participate, oh, well, I understand. What came back was sarcasm. I understand your launch is more important to you right now. Like it doesn't sound like that, but I can tell you the other stuff around it. Like I was supposed to feel guilty. I didn't respond. I just deleted the message because I know where my priority is. Could you do the same thing? Could you walk away and not take the bait? Okay, she was baiting me. Was I going to continue to sacrifice more time to engage in something that I already said I'm not doing? Okay. Okay. Thank you, whoever said congrats on my journey. I'm hoping this is helping all of us to be on a journey. Okay. Hold on. Let's up. How did I lose you? Hold on. There you are. Okay. My cursor froze up on me there. All right. So I'm going to say hi to David and Tara and Jennifer Ray, Terry, Dee Dee, Mark. Wonderful. Ashley, Robert, Kim. Wow, got a big group this morning. Ashley says, Robert, I have let others be my priority. Adjustable focus. Yes. Listen, if I'm not here to tell you what your priorities are, I'm here to say, stay true to your priorities. Then time will not have any control over you. You will get done what you choose to get done. It's when other people feel like they can do that for that person and that for that person and that for that person and still get their own stuff done and then get mad because time ran out. No, life's not going to happen that way. Ashley, great realization because I definitely get that pang of anxiety when people ask me for things or even in just conversations that springs from guilt and parents. Yes. Yes. That's what I'm saying. If we could just tell the truth to ourselves, like, why am I feeling like I have to say yes? Because you're conditioned. I'm conditioned. I had to break the conditioning. And funny story, I was having a conversation with my mom. Whoop, that went away a little fast. What you talked about reminded me of when I told my friend about something, and she said, be sure to remind me. That's a no. She needs to set her own reminder. Yes. 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 It really is it my job to be your alarm clock? I don't think so. Okay. Not for a friend, maybe for a child, but not for another equal. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Deleting was the best response to pause. Yeah, exactly. So my mom and I have, if you know anything about me, we now have a lovely relationship, and we can have conversations that don't result in, major world wars. That was not always the case. And my mom said to me yesterday, she said, God, it is so pleasant to be around you now. She said, you've definitely changed. She said, do you know you changed? And I said, yes, I know I changed. And she said, well, what did you do to change? I said, I stopped listening to everybody else tell me what to do. I said, I now just listen to myself and what I want to do. So I don't get mad. I used to be the one who's like, jump. My mother taught me, when I say jump, you say how high. Like, honestly, that was my mother and my growing up. So I was like always like deer in the headlights. And resentful. Carried that around for years with people. My husband will tell you, if like I'd be putting my makeup on, it's like, how long before you're ready to go? And I would just like that would just be like nails on a chalkboard for me. Why? Not because he said it, but because he said it and it was attached to all the years of like this. Okay. I had to get rid of that conditioning. How did I get rid of it? I just chose my priorities. I don't engage with it. That's the other thing we can't do. We can't truly, once we're pretty sure it's coming from conditioning, We accept that it's coming from conditioning, and then we choose to respond differently. Okay? If we keep going back, well, my mother said this, and blah, 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 we're engaging with the conditioning. Let's stop engaging with the condition and just create a new condition. Excuse me, a beautiful place to be. My parents both said that crap. Yeah. Mark, I'm still processing that. I'm responding like the request is coming from my parents. This is the second time I've heard this explanation making more sense. When used in conjunction with that doesn't work for me, I can take my power back. So thank you, Mark. I hadn't gotten there yet, and I was about to. Some of you can repeat this phrase from memory, like Mark. Some of you have never heard it before. This is me giving a shout out to my first mentor, Linda Starr, years ago, when she met the Stacey that I just described, like this one. And she would say to me, why do you say yes to everyone? And my husband used to say at the same time, you say yes to everyone. I got no sleep. Some of you know I wound up in bed for 2 years and 3 months with adrenal fatigue because I got no sleep. I sacrificed breakfast, lunch, and dinners. I was under extreme anxiety of my own making for years. And my first mentor did her best to help me with that. She wasn't completely successful, and she started me on the path to understanding. It was only after I became ill and then found a way to make myself well again that I went back and went, I think I'm going to start taking her advice now. So this was the advice she gave me. No matter what request it is, if it is not part of your priority focus, no matter what request comes in, you say this: thank you for asking. That doesn't work for me. Thank you for asking. That doesn't work for me. Thank you for asking. That doesn't work for me. Notice there's no and, there's no but. It's 2 sentences. Thank you for asking. That doesn't work for me. Now, why does it work? And yes, I did. That was the first email that I sent to the person who asked me to go look up what she said she already had. Thank you for asking. That doesn't work for me. Then she came back with the guilt, and I know you're focused. That, on your, yes, I'm focused on my project, like I said I would be. Okay, this is why it works. The first sentence tells the person you heard them. It acknowledges them. Okay, you're not being bitchy. You're not going, thank you for asking. No, you're saying, thank you for asking. I'm acknowledging you asked. Everybody has a right to ask. You asked. Everybody has a right to say no. This is my way of saying no. That doesn't work for me. And again, you don't have to say it bitchy, just that doesn't work for me. You can expect the response is going to be why. You can expect it. If you can expect it, then you can be prepared with the answer. Here's the answer. Thank you for asking. That doesn't work for me. That's the answer. That's the why. It doesn't work for me. They might ask you one more time, but why? It doesn't work for me. Here's where the parents come into play again. When your parents wanted an explanation, you darn well better have given that explanation, just like I darn well better had given that explanation. I don't have to give anyone an explanation anymore. Now, if I forget something, I don't do something I promised, I can apologize. I still don't have to give a reason. Who cares what the reason is? It doesn't work for me. That's my reason. And that's a boundary. And the minute you start to give an excuse or a reason, they're going to pick at it. And they're going to help you figure out a way that you can do it for them. Okay? If you know I'm right, drop an X. If you're a little nervous about saying this to people, drop an X. It takes practice. It is the most liberating, the most freeing statement that could ever be said. She was brilliant in coming up with this. And I can tell you, over the course of time, my friends now ask me, they'll say, if it doesn't work for you, I know you'll tell me. But that's how I get asked things now. If it doesn't work for you, I know you'll tell me. And I say, yes, you're right. They're still allowed to ask. And I'll either say, that actually can work for me, or you're right, that doesn't work for me. I have just given you the tools to be able to get your time back and focused on what is most important to you. Ashley, let's see what Ashley has to say. I wish I'd known the statement sooner so I could use it for my mom and even my older kids. Oh, please don't be ashamed of how I've loved. No, be gentle. Ashley, if you're ashamed, then we all have to be ashamed. You are so not the only one. And there's nothing to be ashamed about. You put other people first. What a generous heart. Unfortunately, when we do that, we train other people that they don't have to be responsible for themselves. Like Kim said, okay, not my job to remind you. Set a timer. Put a note in your diary. Keep an accountability book, right? Or a calendar. Don't make me responsible for your life. Because the minute we do that, now they're off the hook. They just found someone else to blame, to be responsible, and they don't have to be. Believe me, I say this to caretakers all the time. This will be the last tip, unless anybody has questions for me. Caretakers die more often than the person they're taking care of. It is a well-known statistic. Look it up. Isn't that disgusting? Like, I wouldn't want anybody to feel badly, but the person who is dedicated to taking care of somebody who is not able to take care of themselves is more likely to die before the person they're taking care of, even if that person has a terminal illness. Why? Why would that statistic be true? Because the caretaker has chosen not to put in the boundaries as to how they will take care of themselves first in order to take care of the other person. Okay? Very generous-hearted, wants to nurture that other person, make the other person feel good. At the beginning, that's great. The other person winds up getting used to that kind of care, and it is not sustainable. We have to take care of ourselves first. And so what happens is, and I've had a few clients who have come to me to help them carve out time for their business around being full-time caretakers. And the first thing I say is, there are services that can provide in-home care. Like, if they don't want to put the person in another place, completely understand. But there are ways to get in-home care relatively inexpensively, or even through grants. It's not the money that comes up. They'll say to me, oh, they'll never put up with another person. Well, they're going to have to if you're not around. Better train them now. Okay, do you understand what I'm saying? Is this making sense? That's completely negating one's own needs to take care of someone else. The priority always has to be, if we want to care for other people, we have to take care of ourselves. All right, that was almost more than I had planned to tell you. It's true. It's a source of time. Management is not time blocking. It is not a DMO. All of that comes after setting boundaries and determining what's the priority. All right. So, to those of you who have got the Wednesday webinar on your calendar and you're planning on joining me and Brian live tomorrow, wonderful. If you don't know what that is, get with the person who invited you here and they'll tell you about our weekly Wednesday webinars for more training. What I'm going to focus on is not time management, but how I actually put together a launch that currently has about 400 registrations for the webinar. Woo woo. I didn't do it by myself. All right. Oh, there's a few more comments coming in. Let's just see before we, okay. In my mom groups, I even encourage them to not make themselves a martyr at the sake of their kids. Something I had to unlearn, literally neglecting myself to care for the kids, home, and spouse. I looked up and wasn't myself anymore. Self-preservation, self-care boundaries, so important for our self-relationship. I did a post yesterday that said, the only way we lose ourselves is when we stop going inside ourselves. Ashley, I'm so glad you found a way back inside yourself. I'm wishing you all an abundance of sales, satisfaction, and success today, every week, every month, every year, for all the years to come. See you soon. Bye.